Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast, where high performers come to grow without stress, shame, or burning out. I'm Minh-Thu Lam, and I'm here to help you work smarter, live fuller, and feel like yourself again. If you're tired of running on empty, book your complimentary assessment call at higheralignmentconsulting.com/program, and let's figure out what's draining your energy and what you can do to start feeling happy and peaceful once again. You can find the link in the show notes. Now let's get into the episode. So I was talking with one of my clients recently, and he is in a place where he wants a career change. He's in a very demanding field. He has been for 20 years now, worked his ass off to get there. And he's over it. He feels trapped by it. It's very hard on his body. It's very hard on his schedule. Lots of demand, lots of pressure. And so he's building this side business now to make that transition. He does very well with what he does. And so he's building this side business to make this transition. And, one of the things that's really important to him is freedom. And he's like, freedom. I want to do things how I want to do it, when I want to do it. And it's like the exact opposite of what he has in his main career. And so what's happened is he's put so much pressure onto making this side hustle work because he wants to get out of his main job so badly that now it's carried over into the side hustle where it's adding a lot of pressure to make it work because he wants out of the other one so bad. And so, we were talking about this and processing it today. And this element of freedom came up again today. And I was like, well, what does like freedom feel like to you? Or what does success feel like to you? He's like, honestly, I'm simple. I don't need a lot of fancy things. I don't need a lot of material stuff. He's like, I just want to be balanced. I want to be calm. I want to be regulated in my body. He's like, that's honestly the definition of success for me. He's like, truly. And I was like, okay, so if that's success to you, yet right now you're building this side business with this like overwhelming amount of control and needing to make it work and this anxiety, I was like, isn't that the exact opposite of success for you? And he paused and looked at me. He's like, All right, if you're a burnt out executive or high performer, chances are you're on a 3 to 4 month cycle of burnout, meaning the first few months you're high energy, productive, and making it happen. And then once that third or fourth month sets in, you're exhausted, irritable, snappy, and ready to give it all up. Now, there are two main reasons you get stuck in this cycle that no one talks about when it comes to stress management information out there. So I've put this together in a short video called The Real Reason You're Burnt Out. I put it in the show note links. So take the 12 minutes to watch this video and let this be the first step to you getting off this hamster wheel of burnout. All right, guys, back to the episode. Right? And so I said, here's the thing. At the end of the day, what you want is freedom. And if you felt that you could feel free in your everyday job right now, you probably wouldn't feel the pressure to make this side hustle go so quickly. Am I right? And he's like, well, yeah, you're right. I said, okay, the reason this big jump feels like the move for you and why you need to make it work so bad is because you're jumping to the big result first, right? And that's what we do as humans. When we've been uncomfortable for so long, we feel like we need to rip off the biggest band-aid possible to get the result, right? Like, especially type A's, we want a big return on investment. We want to just make the move, the hard move, and hope that solves all of our answers, right? That's just the way we're wired. Okay. So for him, he's like, I make the transition from this to this. That's the biggest lever. Boom. Now I have freedom. Right. When really we need to start with baby steps first. We need to start with the basics of introducing those things so that when you start to do that, that jump, whatever that is for you, won't feel like it needs to be made so bad. You will have started to incorporate enough of those feelings and that energy of whatever that is for you to the point where you're like, oh, okay, it's time to make that. Right? So back to his example where freedom is so important to him. We talk a lot about how freedom and control are the opposite ends of the spectrum. I said, right now, even though the side business to you looks like freedom, you're controlling it. you want to control it badly, right? So you think that but what that does is it makes that jump way harder because it's coming from a fear mentality. It's coming from a scarcity mentality, a survival mentality. I need to make this work. Where if we build this business from a freedom energy, when it's time to make that transition, you're going to naturally want to do it because now freedom feels safe in your body. Right now, freedom doesn't feel safe in your body, right? He wants to control everything that he puts out. He needs to control how much time he has. You guys know the energy, checking your email a million times a day, people pleasing, rewriting emails so many times, over preparing for presentations, overthinking the conversations you've had. These are control aspects. These are not free. Right? But if you're operating from that space, it's because your nervous system thinks that's the only way you're going to be successful is through control. But for most of you, including this client I'm referring to, that's the exact opposite of what you want. You want freedom. So how do we introduce freedom into the system? You have to do it in baby steps. You have to do it one by one, right? So one thing he decided to do this week was he decided to essentially hold off on a week of advertising just because it had gotten to the point where it was eating away at him. So he's like, I'm not going to do my posting for this week. I'm going to take this week to, quote unquote, be on vacation. I'm going to be more present with the puppy, more present with my wife and family and all these things that he loves to do. He's like, and I'm going to bank a week's worth. And then when next week when I start, I'm going to give myself that room. And I said, this is the real work. The real work of freeing yourself is not ripping off that Band-Aid and jumping from here to here. The real work is teaching your body that it's safe to have moments of freedom. So this week of taking off work, quote unquote, and knowing that everything's going to be okay, that's teaching your body that, hey, it's safe to do this. It's okay. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to do it all the time. Obviously, you got to get back to building this business if you want to make that transition. But what it teaches the body is that freedom is okay. Freedom is freedom. We can still exist with freedom. We can still survive with freedom, right? I told him, I said, if I told you tomorrow, hey, you can leave your job and you can just do the side hustle and you don't got to worry about anything. I said, consciously, you'd be like, woohoo, I'm so excited. And guess what? In 2-3 weeks, you would start to feel the exact same pressure and restriction and control and fear that you feel right now because your body doesn't know how to exist any other way. We need to teach you how to exist in a free state, whatever that looks like for you. Go back to the success for him, balanced, regulated, calm. We need to teach your body that it's safe to exist in those spaces, that being in those spaces still can mean that you're growing and you're achieving and that you're worthy and that you're valuable. But until we teach your body that in baby steps, I could give you exactly what you want right now. Poof, you're out of here, you're into here, and you're good. And within a matter of weeks, you'll be back in the same pattern. And I say that because I lived it. Like you guys have heard me say, the life that I'm living today, the Minh-Thu 3 years ago who prayed for this, who wanted this so badly, she'd be having a panic attack right now because she would not know how to exist with this level of freedom. It would feel threatening. It would feel scary and unknown and uncomfortable. And so that version of Minh-Thu would have just thrown herself into a tizzy of being stressed out and controlling and perfectionist, all that. It would just keep me in that mode all the time, even though I'm living in the state that I prayed for today. It could be handed to you on a platter. And if your nervous system isn't ready to receive it, you'll piss away the opportunity. You guys have heard me say, mindset sees the opportunity, nervous system determines whether you capitalize it on it or not. So for him, back to this example, he wants to transition from career A to career B. We need to teach him what that's going to look like. We need to teach his body that it's safe to do so. And once the body knows it's safe, once the body starts to experience these moments of freedom throughout the day, guess what? When that internal state starts to change, the external will start to shift to match. The universe, God, will start to bring opportunities and clients and whatever he's looking for to allow that transition to happen smoothly, to allow that transition to happen without a whole lot of willpower or discipline or effort. He'll see the leap and he'll be ready to take it because his body is ready to capitalize on the opportunity. Okay? Now, can you do it the other way? Can you rip off the big Band-Aid and take the leap of faith? Sure. Sure you can. But again, you will probably within a matter of weeks or months end up right in the same cycle because your body hasn't done the work it needs to change the programming, right? So if you are like, I want to give up my job and I want to move to Bali, or I want to open up a bread stand on the streets of Italy, I don't know, whatever that is. If you do that without learning to regulate your nervous system through feeling freedom and feeling being able to surrender and be in flow, if like you haven't taught your body what it's like to exist in that space, you're just going to jump back right into the same cycle and probably end up going back to work faster than you want to. You'll think you want to take a year off, and within a matter of 2 or 3 months, you're going to get bored or feel lazy or feel like you want to go back to work, and you end up right in the same pattern. And so then what was the point of that leap anyways? Right? You want to set yourself up to really make a change. If you really want to set yourself up for a new way of living, for a new chapter, you have to start with baby steps. You have to teach your system what it's like to live the way that you want to live. And then again, pull that lever once the body's ready. The nervous system will know. It'll be undeniable. And I'm telling you from experience, right? I did the different way than people. I left my career with no plan. I didn't know what I was going to do next. But what I did know is I wanted more freedom. I knew that I didn't want to be working at a place strictly for money anymore. Money is still important. I value money. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I absolutely do. I want a certain level of lifestyle. I do. But working somewhere, giving them my blood, sweat, and tears and my worth and my value and everything I know I'm good at, and like the type of presence I bring to a place, giving that to someone purely for an exchange of money, like to me, the golden handcuffs, that's like, I didn't want to live from that space. To me, it feels like just like a really like shallow exchange. And I'm not knocking if that's where you're at. That for me, I just needed more depth in my life. I wanted to be able to have the finances and have purpose and have alignment and have freedom. But I had to work up to that point of being able to live that way. And even with me doing the work, when I took that first year off, I got back after traveling and I was like, damn, should I get another job? Like I thought about it. But then I had to bring myself back. Like, no, this is exactly why you did this. You didn't want to go back to anything purely because of money. And so I sat with it. And a year later, the idea came to me. Higher alignment came to me. The coaching came to me. And now I have this great business that I've birthed that I'm crazy about and so grateful. And again, have the freedom of time and creating my own scheduling and being able to work from wherever I want to, like having this ability and this flexibility, like being able to live from this place of freedom. But again, 3 year ago, Minh-Thu would have had a panic attack by now. So if you are at that point where you know you want to make a transition, you want to make a jump, and maybe you're trying to really make something work on the side, can that approach work? Yes, but you're going to burn yourself out in the process. You can keep doing that, but regulate and integrate naturally, step by step, every day, and on a long enough time horizon, which doesn't have to be long, matter of a few weeks, matter of a few months. Your internal system of growth and stress management is going to completely rewire. And then that's when things start to open up. That's when the opportunities show up. That's when the clarity shows up. That's when the bigger picture, the big ideas, that's when it shows up in your life because you've welcomed it. You've taught the body to receive it and you're ready to actually embrace it. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Higher Alignment Podcast. If you got something out of this episode, I would ask that you please go subscribe and leave the podcast a 5-star review so that it can help find its way to other people who are having a hard time and need support. My mission in life is to help executives realize that you don't need to suffer in silence while still performing at a high level. I want to help free people of the heavy pressure they carry on a day-to-day basis, and having more people listen to this podcast will do just that. So wherever you listen to this, please go leave it a 5-star review, hit subscribe so you never miss another episode, and we'll see you in the next one.